Any questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Go ahead and ask your question.
Okay. In practice, you should always try to do all positions, be team leader, scribe, and radio. But in a real life incident, how do you tier who's going to be team leader, who's going to be radio, and who's going to be scribe? I mean, it seems to me that you want the more experienced triage people doing scribe and radio, and the team leader just kind of like hanging back.
That is a very good question. I would say in certain instances, as an EMT, if I'm leading a medical team, I can do more good as the team leader, making sure that my team members are doing a good job and helping them where I can, would allow me to help more people than if I was a team member doing the work myself, because I can only run one patient at a time. So it can be argued in multiple ways, and we're going to have more classes on team leadership and deciding that kind of thing, but not really relevant to this conversation. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
When the scribe is recording information, are you asking them to put write down the person's name they're reporting on?
Generally not. You're not documenting names, especially in triage. You're caring about the counts right now. If you're on a TARP and you're assessing and you're planning transport for this person, then yes, you're probably tracking names at that point. But for triage, you don't care about names. It's about how many victims do you have and what the counts are for each category. Any other questions?
Hey, Patrick, I have a question. I don't know if you can hear.
Whoever has the birds, please mute themselves.
If you're a trained medical professional, if you have like BLS training and stuff like that, checking the pulse, that come into play in a scenario.
If you have BLS training, you're an EMT, you're going to follow your local protocols. If you've been taught to triage, you're not checking skin perfusion, you're checking pulse strength, then that's what you're going to be doing. This is aimed at step back at the CERT level training.
Wait a minute. If we were talking about a disaster, wouldn't we be still doing an initial triage anyway? Doesn't matter what background is, you're doing a triage.
EMTs have additional training and have been taught slightly differently. The answer is, and I skipped over this intentionally. Capillary refill is perfect on younger, healthy children and adults. People with vascular issues, circulatory issues, 2 seconds is not realistic on a capillary refill. But that is what CERT teaches. That's what, unless you have a different training, do the capillary refill.
It takes a different set of tools to overuse the conversation. You know what you're doing.
Yes, do what you've been trained to do. Any other questions?
Patrick?
Yes.
Yes, not a question. I just want to thank you for this excellent online triage that as many times as every single battalion has gone over triage, we always forget something. So there can't be enough times that we review this, and I can't thank you enough for doing it. It just raised a lot of things that if we don't practice, that we forget. And this really worked out well, and I just want to thank you for everybody.
Ditto, ditto.
Bravo, bravo, Patrick.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
This is Bob Strojek from Santa Barbara County, and I want to let you know that class was very good. We like to copy it, just so you know.
Thank you. Like I said, the presentation will be up on Facebook. I'll also include the slide deck. If you go into the files section of Teams, you'll see that there's 2 handouts. They were also in the Eventbrite links on the 10-step guide to triaging, as well as a cheat sheet on your red, green, and yellow and black that you can print out and keep with you.
Excellent.
So if there's any other questions, feel free to stick around. I'll be on for a little bit longer. Otherwise, thank you everybody for coming. Let me see if we have a count what we have right now at. We had 50 people when we started, I think.
55 currently.
58, I think you said.
Okay. All right. So
Patrick?
yes.
Earlier when you had asked about if, I think it was Sally, could see the list of all the people, on the menu bar that pops up on the screen, there's 2 little people. And if you click on that, on the side of your screen shows and lists every participant on the right-hand side, and then whether they're muted or not. So that way, if you can't see all the pictures, the list of all the participants is that double person on that bar line.
And I believe at the beginning, there were 77 people.
Yeah, there was a lot. That I remember looking at 60, but if you need someone to look at the list, that's how you get it.
Right. You're right.
There was a question here regarding, I'm looking through the chat right now, about the staging area. CERT says that you're going to go to your staging area, and this is in the FEMA material. And I can tell you right now, for LA City CERT, we do not have staging areas defined. It is something that I plan on really focusing on, because we're taught a couple things. Start where you stand, but if you are the only CERT member on your block and you have to do everything in pairs, you're limited in what you can do. Having CERT staging areas defined in your neighborhood where all the CERT members know to go is how this is going to get done. And it's something that I'm hoping to really focus on and get defined, but it's almost at a grassroots neighborhood block level. You're going to have to figure out at your level with your neighbors, where is our staging area? Where are we going to go during a disaster? Because maybe our radios don't work, our cell phones don't work, our landlines don't work. The fire department sure is not going to tell us that they need our help. And for every program out there that says, we've been told we don't do anything until EMD or the fire department tells us to do it, they misunderstand the purpose of CERT. At least in LA City, and I can almost guarantee this applies in other places as well. If there's an earthquake, fire department is going to be so busy, EMD is going to be so busy, they're not going to think, oh, I need to alert my CERT members, which I don't have a good list for and no good way to contact. I need to let them know that they need to take care of themselves and their neighbors. We need to self-activate at that point. During a disaster, CERT members are the first responders in our own neighborhoods until the professional responders can arrive. If the fire department is not coming, we're the first responders there almost indefinitely. Certainly for the first hour or several hours. And so that is something that we need to get over, and we need to move and figure out what the plan is. Right. Where are we going to go? Who are we going to meet with? And how are we going to do the greatest good for the greatest number of people? So start thinking about that in your own communities. Start thinking about, you know, hey, where can we have a meeting place? But here's something else. That should not be something that's public. You don't want to go into, you know, this town square. You don't want to be in a public park where everyone is going to go because their power's out and they don't know what to do. They're going to be looking for help. And if they see a group of people wearing vests and backpacks, they're going to go over to you and ask you, why is my power out? Where I can't call 911, it's ringing busy. Where's the fire department? They're going to harass you guys and make you ineffective. So the idea of the CERT staging area really needs to kind of be out of the way. It needs to be, I think a great location is on the backside of a church parking lot. If it's not visible from the street and you have an agreement with the church that you're allowed to use this area, it's a great location. But there might not be churches in your area. There might not be any, suitable places. So you're really going to have to figure out in your own community, in your own neighborhood, where the CERT staging area is going to be.
And Patrick, to add to that, as a professional first responder, I can tell you the first thing that happens is a windshield survey, which means you're right. I mean, ultimately, you're going to be on your own for the first 3 hours minimum.